Welcome back. Sorry I had to leave so quickly last time, and that it's taken so long to give a second update. I had to make sure my bunker was prepared for the inevitable incursion from evil LLC's new surveillance devices. Since I didn't know what those devices were, I plugged all holes coming in to my freedom bunker. Not my best idea. Apparently, at least a few of those bring air into the bunker. I nearly died. But I'm still here. You hear me, Evil LLC? I'm still here. Now that I've shown that I can beat them and everything they send at me, where did we leave off? Yes, I was explaining about birds and how they don't exist. I don't think anybody really knows what made people believe that birds were real, but quite a few corporations have profited from it. For example, there's this one man from Tennessee, Missouri, or Carolina, or something like that, who made quite a profit from people who believed birds existed. His trademarked bird product is actually an adorable, fluffy dog discovered in the Australian outback. He called them cuddle puppies after they snuggled up to him when he was lost in the desert. Later, when he needed sustenance, he found they tasted delicious when fried. He couldn't exactly sell dog meat, so he jumped on the bird bandwagon and said it was some made-up feathered thing that didn't actually exist until he opened his restaurants. Of course, there's some who'll say they eat birds every year for Thanksgiving. And I've seen the bloated masses you put on your tables. I cannot say for certain, since I have not tested this, but those things look a lot like the cloned dinosaurs that get fattened up during spring and summer in Evil LLC's labs, only to be killed and packaged in the fall. I'm surprised people have believed it for so long, actually. A bird defecating on your car right after you wash it, nearly every time. Evil LLC gets a large check from Big Car Wash to make sure it happens to exactly 83.4% of car wash customers all across the globe. It's easier to fake in cities and near the oceans, but a hawk dive bomb in a car in Kansas has been used to make people less suspicious. With that explanation out of the way, let's see what we have in the boxes. This one's familiar. I'll just get it out of the way now, since when I actually get around to organizing the boxes, which I swear is coming, this type of thing would be a box unto itself with how many times we get it. This particular one came from a wealthy individual. The organizations and governments have also petitioned for the same thing. After they did something they should not have and felt no remorse at the time, this person would like to cancel culture. Of course, the petition says what they did was just a sign of the times, and they would not have, in this case, waved their bare genitals at their co-workers and screamed, "Look at the helicopter," if it hadn't been culturally acceptable in the far-gone year of 2011. They do not understand why the public will not accept that it was all right for them to do things like this in 2011, which was a different age. Like going out for a smoke break and drinking on the job, everyone was doing it in their industry. It was fun for everyone, and not a single person complained, so it must have been all right. Like all reports like this, the irony of saying they want to cancel the culture of canceling escapes them. There's a completely separate campaign attached to this one that's entirely unrelated, but was purchased by the same client. They want us to get people to turn against air conditioners because they're offensive to people who live in cold climates. Here's one that I know you people will love. Operation Naptime. Evil LLC interfered in an election of first grader Timothy Ellison for class president. Timothy's mother and father have plans for him, and those include getting into the first elected office possible. Those plans were initially derailed by a failed attempt to get him into the manger during the Christmas pageant when he was just a few months old. But they didn't hire Evil LLC, causing their downfall when the Johnstons procured our services. Of course, little Timothy crying every time he was placed near a cross made that task ridiculously easy. Learning from their mistakes, the family hired Evil LLC to ensure little Timothy made it into office this time. 4 candidates opposed him, but we were able to remove 3 almost instantly. Colin was caught eating a stick of glue when he thought no one was looking. The cameras were. It was a habit he had developed in preschool and just couldn't quit. He just couldn't resist when the company put him in a room with 4 glue sticks on the table. The class learned Tracy was accepting extra milk during the class milk break. She was being bribed by the 2 kids who went out and got the milk every day. In exchange, she promised them 5 more minutes in the halls. The last easy one to remove was Jacob, that little philanderer. He started dating Jana during recess, but that same day, we photographed him holding hands with Lori as they walked the halls together. With those 3 lives ruined, it was down to Timothy Ellison, the client, and Nikki Cole. The company did what they could, but Nikki was untouchable. She shared her snacks, talked to everyone, even the class outcasts, and was generally well liked. She had to go down. When it was all said and done, the plan was quite simple. We decided how the election occurred by tricking the teacher into thinking isolated rooms and ballot boxes were her own idea. We also convinced her that the election should take place near the end of the school day when the children were at their most tired. This helped it seem less suspicious when voters suddenly fell asleep in the voting booth. We'd lace the ballots. Anyone who tried to vote for Nikki was blasted in the face by a mild sleeping agent. Since they didn't fully fill in their ballots as they were instructed by the teacher, their votes were thrown out. In the end, Timothy won by a landslide, 12-2, with 15 votes tossed out. Some might call it a miracle that Nikki even got 2 votes, but I blame the resilience of today's youth to sedatives and the general weakness of the stuff they call sleeping powder these days. There's more to this. Apparently, after Timothy was elected, the company decided it would be a good idea to have a contingency plan in place in the event that Timothy Ellison needed to be removed from the office of first grade class president. Some of these plans are just ridiculous. How would they even get a first grader to smoke a cigar? Or bond with a homing pigeon that would then return with a vial of cyanide that Timothy Ellison would then have to ingest? Who created these? Of course, it was a PR guy. What the? This one's just weird. After a celebrity grew too popular for their own britches, they were replaced by a more compliant being. Now, before I say what replaced the celebrity, I will say that, like all companies, Evil LLC cares about the bottom line and will cut costs as much as possible. That's what I'm blaming this on. Back in my day, if a celebrity needed to be replaced, we'd either get a perfect lookalike who was on our payroll, stage their death, or replace them with a clone. Apparently, in this case, they decided to try something new. 3 possums piloting a flesh mech. The possums were made intelligent and given much longer lifespans. This had nothing to do with the celebrity originally, but was intended to help with a different campaign that's also included in this document. That client took one look at the intelligent possums and said, I quote, "How would intelligent rodents help me with the IRS?" Personally, I think that client had a point. Not one to waste good and useful resources, the company repurposed the possums, one of which had lost its sight while gaining intelligence, and taught them to pilot a mechanical suit made to look exactly like the celebrity in question. This happened in the early 2000s, and so far, no one has been able to tell, or at least confirm, the celebrity is really 3 possums piloting a flesh suit. People have had questions about the celebrity in question's antics since the early 2000s, and the movements on screen have been odd because of the blind possum occasionally controlling the legs. Despite all the speculation, no one has suggested 3 possums piloting a flesh suit. Of course, that means I can't trust anyone. They could all be 3 possums in a flesh mech. Wonder if that means I should stop visiting these dating sites. Dating's hard, especially when you have to convince your date to enter your freedom bunker. Now I have to worry about rodents pretending to be people. I'm gonna go make sure on some of my matches. Have a good night, people. Stay suspicious.